Chapter 37. Across the waves in Seattle, it continued to rain. Late at night, the rain would harden into snowdrops, but by the time the morning shift of engineers, coffee thermoses in hand, sloshed up to the security gate at Boeing Aircraft, there was plain rain again, and plenty of it. A galid wind. Alaska decals on every piece of its luggage lingered in the rain without a sneeze, muscled through the blackberry brambles without a scratch, called upon the king and queen without an invitation. Little wonder the CIA has so many leaks, said Max. He was bundled against the drafts. It knows nothing about insulation. Chuck wrote this down in his spy book. King Max watched him laboring over the spelling Insulation, said Max helpfully. If the king was unaware of the insurrection afoot in his homeland, he kept it well hidden. Sorry, if the king was aware of the insurrection afoot in his homeland, he kept it well hidden. He ain't fooling me, said Chuck, using the kitchen extension. Chuck eavesdropped on the telephone conversation that Max had with one Aben Faisal. There's some kind of a deal on with the Arabs, Chuck reported to the CIA. Was there any mention of arms? Asked Chuck's connection. Talk of jet planes and missiles, I believe. Max had arranged for Aben Faisal to meet Princess Lee Cherie when she returned from Hawaii. Chaperoned, of course. Tilly and Max would accompany their daughter and Faisal to a basketball game. Seattle Supersonics versus the Houston Rockets in the Kingdome. It said something about battle in the kingdom. I'll be damned, swore the agent. He whistled. This is bigger than we thought. To her, Chihuahua, whose shivering little frame she had dressed in a purple wool sweater with fur at the collar, Queen Tilly complained, Basketball. You might have known no Arab would want to attend the opera. Chapter 38. You're crying. I'm not. My mistake. You aren't crying. You aren't out of breath either. That's fortunate, because this club doesn't admit women with pants. Is that a pun in my pocket, or am I just glad to see you? Something's wrong. Lee Cherie merely sniffed. Have you got a tissue? She asked. Yeah, sure, I'll find you something. Come on in. Lee Cherie stooped and entered the cabin. She ripped a length of toilet paper from the roll that Bernard fetched from the head. She blew her nose, a signal for all tears to return to their homes and families. Well, I see you're still here. I'm definitely here, but that's no reason to cry. I wasn't crying. I've had a bad day. Another one. One in a series of bad days. I'm not complaining. Bad days are my bag. They're time-consuming, however, and I'm a busy girl. I only stopped by here because I understood you'd been busted. Oh, you turned me in. No, damn you, I didn't. Cops have busted somebody for bombing the Pioneer. Just a stab in the dark. A wild guess, I know, but I thought it might be you. I'm hurt that you'd think such a thing, but delighted that you'd come by to check. It's my privilege to report that if being uncaged is being free, then I am as the birdies in the blue. Then who did the police arrest, I wonder? I fear there's been an international, or rather interplanetary incident. The police have seen fit to incarcerate our guests from the faraway world of Argon. No kidding. Really? How did it happen? I mean, why them? Because an anonymous caller tipped off the cops, who subsequently found 2 sticks of dynamite in their rented Toyota. Bernard! Shh. I'm trying to imagine what an Argonian driver's license looks like. One of them would have to have had a driver's license in order to rent a car. Bernard, that was your dynamite. Are you sure? But 2 sticks. You had 3. Go ahead. Tell me I'm selfish. Call me a bum Christian. I can't help it. I couldn't bring myself to give it all away. One never knows. One might need some. She tried to respond as if he'd made a perfectly ordinary remark. She took a slow, calming breath. What are you trying to say? With your dynamite, I mean. Say? Dynamite didn't come here to teach, it came to awaken. Do you think dynamite can make the world a better place? A better place than what? Argon? You evasive bastard. I'm trying to understand you, and you won't give me a straight answer. Her small, sunburned fist in frustration crumpled the soiled toilet paper in which she dabbed her eyes and blew her nose. Maybe you're not asking the right questions. If all you're interested in is making the world a better place, go back to your Carefest and question Ralph Nader. I fully intend to go hear Ralph. Ralph Nader, I mean. She blushed, feeling perhaps that she'd betrayed a secret, onanistic intimacy. Good. Do that. But if you're interested in experiencing the world as a better place, then stay here with me. Oh, yeah? That'd be fine. Maybe. For you and me. But how about the rest of humanity? A better world has got to start somewhere. Why not with you and me? That silenced her. She seemed pensive. She unwadded the toilet paper just to have something to do with her hands, and as she did so, she was reminded of the yogi who'd taken the cobweb apart. Bernard, she said, do you think I've been paying attention to the wrong things? I don't know, babe. I don't know what you've been paying attention to, because I don't know what you've been dreaming about. We may think we're paying attention to this or that, but our dreams tell us what we're really interested in. Dreams never lie. Lee Cherie thought about her dreams. Several episodes came vividly to mind. They caused her to blush again and set the peach fish oozing from its gills. I can't recall any dreams, she lied. We all dream profusely every night, yet by morning we've forgotten 90% of what went on. That's why poets are such important members of society. Poets remember our dreams for us. Are you a poet? I'm an outlaw. Are outlaws important members of society? Outlaws are not members of society. However, they may be important to society. Poets remember our dreams. Outlaws act them out. Yeah? How about a princess? Is a princess important? They used to be. A princess used to stand for beauty, magic spells, and fairy castles. That was pretty damn important. Lee Cherie shook her head slowly from side to side. Her fiery tresses swung like plantation curtains the night before they drove Old Dixie down. Come on, are you serious? That's romantic bullshit, Bernard. I can't believe the dreaded woodpecker is such a cornball. Ha ha ha, you love the earth so much. Did you know it was hollow? The earth is hollow, Lee Cherie. Inside the ball, there's a wire wheel, and there's a chipmunk running in the wheel. One little chipmunk running its guts out for you and me. At night, just before I fall asleep, I hear that chipmunk. I hear its crazed chattering, hear its little heart pounding, hear the squeaking of the squirrel cage. The wheel is old and rickety now and troubled by rust. The chipmunk is doing all the work. All we have to do is occasionally oil the wheel. What do you think lubricates the wheel, Lee Cherie? Do you really think so, Bernard? Cross my heart and hope to die. I think so too, but I feel guilty about it. I feel so fucking whimsical. Those who shun the whimsy of things will experience rigor mortis before death. The hijinks ran to 40 feet, not including bowsprit. She slept 4 and could have slept more, but her cabin had been remodeled in such a way as to provide cargo storage without being too obvious about her mission. She was teak with brass fittings and smelled like a spice boat, which, in a sense, she was. Lee Cherie sat aft in the gallery at a glass-topped table. Beneath the glass was a nautical chart of the Hawaiian Islands. Coffee cups and tumblers of tequila had left circular stains on the glass, sticky atolls in a crumb-strewn Pacific. With those fingers that weren't gripping toilet paper, Lee Cherie traced the rims of the unnamed reefs. You know, she said at last, you make me feel good about being a princess. Most of the men I've known made me feel guilty about it. They'd snicker up their sleeves at the mention of beauty and magic tricks, and what else did you say a princess stands for? Enchantments, dramatic prophecies, swans swimming in castle moats, dragon bait, all the romantic bullshit that makes life interesting. People need that as badly as they need fair prices at the Texaco pump and no DDT in the pabloom. The men you've been with probably wouldn't kiss your nipples correctly for fear they'd suck in some pesticide. Upon hearing their name called, her nipples sprang to attention. Early in my career as an outlaw, it doesn't matter when, right after my first jailbreak, I helped hijack an airliner to Havana. Castro, the great fox, granted me sanctuary, but I hadn't been in Cuba a month before I borrowed a small boat with an outboard motor and putt-putted like hell for the Florida Keys. The sameness of the socialistic system was stifling and boring to me. There was no mystery in Cuba, no variety, no novelty, and worse, no options. For all the ugly vices that capitalism encourages, it's at least interesting, exciting, it offers possibilities. In America, the struggle is at least an individual struggle, and if the individual has strength enough of character, salt enough of wit, the alternatives are thicker than polyesters in a car salesman's closet. In a socialistic system, you're no better or no worse than anybody else. But that's equality. Bullshit. Unromantic, unattractive bullshit. Equality is not in regarding different things similarly. Equality is in regarding different things differently. You may be right, she fiddled with the toilet paper. She drew it across the tabletop and absent-mindedly wiped out a whole archipelago. Is that what an act of God is? I certainly don't feel like I'm the same as everybody else, especially when I'm around you. But that only inspires me to want to help those who aren't as lucky as me. There's always the same amount of good luck and bad luck in the world. If one person doesn't get the bad luck, somebody else will have to get it in their place. There's always the same amount of good and evil too. We can't eradicate evil, we can only evict it, force it to move across town. And when evil moves, some good always goes with it. But we can never alter the ratio of good to evil. All we can do is keep things stirred up so neither good nor evil solidifies. That's when things get scary. Life is like a stew. You have to stir it frequently, or all the scum rises to the top. Anyway, to hear you tell it, you haven't been real lucky lately. That may be changing. You've reaffirmed my belief in romantic bullshit, and Ralph Nader speaks in 40 minutes. But answer me one more question before I go. If I stand for fairy tale balls and dragon bait, what do you stand for? Me? I stand for uncertainty, insecurity, surprise, disorder, unlawfulness, bad taste, fun, and things that go boom in the night. You've really bought the Desperado package, haven't you? I mean, you've actually done those big bad things. Hijacked planes, blown up banks. No banks. I leave the banks to the criminal types. Without and within. Outlaws never... You make outlaw sound so special. Oh, it's not all that special, I suppose. If you're honest, you sooner or later have to confront your values. Then you're forced to separate what is right from what is merely legal. This puts you metaphysically on the run. America is full of metaphysical outlaws. I've simply gone one step further. Out of the frying pan and into the crossfire, eh, Bernard? I admire the courage of that, I do. But frankly, it seems to me that you've turned yourself into a stereotype. You may be right. I don't care. As any car freak will tell you, the old models are the most beautiful, even if they aren't the most efficient. People who sacrifice beauty for efficiency get what they deserve. Well, you may get off on being a beautiful stereotype, regardless of the social consequences, but my conscience won't allow it. And I goddamn refuse to be dragon bait. I'm as capable of rescuing you as you are of rescuing me. I'm an outlaw, not a hero. I never intended to rescue you. We are our own dragons as well as our own heroes. And we have to rescue ourselves from ourselves. Even outlaws perform services, however. And I brought my dynamite to Maui to remind the Carefest that good can be as banal as evil. As for you, well, did you really expect me to keep my senses after taking a look at your hair? Lee Cherie held a strand of her hair to her eyes. As if in comparison, she reached across the table to where Bernard sat opposite her and examined one of his unruly ringlets. The hair of the most so-called redheads actually is orange, but it was red, first color in the spectrum, and was the last seen by the eyes of the dying. It was true blue red that clanged like fireballs about the domes of Bernard Mickey Wrangle and Princess Lee Cherie. There followed an embarrassed silence, tense and awkward, broken finally with a snap by the woodpecker's abrupt plunging of his hand into his jeans. Pattering his gesture after the successful Jack Horner, he pulled out a single hair and held it aloft. It glowed like a copper filament. Can you match that? He challenged. Okay, Buster. Okay, 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 okay. Beneath the table, beneath a map of Hawaii with extraneous atolls, she submarined a hand into the depths of her skirt and slid it along the flat of her thigh. It winnowed into her panties. She yanked. Ouch! Damn it. She yanked again, and presto, there it was, curly and stiff, and as red as a thread from a socialist banner. What do you think of that? She asked brightly. Then she noticed that from the tip of the hair there hung, like a tadpole's balloon, a tiny telltale bead of fishy moisture. Oh, sweet Jesus, no! She released her grip on the crumpled toilet paper. It fluttered to the deck of the cabin, her face heated as crimson as the hair, and then some. She could have died. What do you think of that? The woodpecker's voice was very, very gentle. I think it could make the world a better place.